Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Mafia Monday. Let's jump into our story. This is how we get down on Mondays. I go through all three novels about the Los Angeles Syndicate that I wrote. We're starting with the first one, California Gangsters. I wrote this book about 4 years ago, so I don't really remember everything that I wrote. I've written several other books since this. You can go check out last Monday's episode to catch up. Our main character, Simon Castro, young Simon, he joined the Mafia, family business. He's trying to start his own crew in downtown Los Angeles. He wants to join the syndicate. And in order to join the syndicate, he's got to go through a certain process. Now, he went to Las Vegas to do a murder. He completed the murder in the last episode. You can go check out last Monday's episode. And he got shot. So he's seeking help. And he's on his way to the Vegas tunnels. You Las Vegas boys should know about the tunnels. Don't go down there. I'll warn you. That is no place for you to be. Simon's on his way. Let's jump into it. I got Mr. Snubby ready to rock and roll as usual. Mafia Monday. He parked the car off the side of the road in the dirt between two large bushes. As a cloud of dust settled around the car, he got out and began to snap branches off of a bush to place over the top of my white Cadillac for camouflage cover. He said, "Come on, man. Let's go. Move it, soldier." I slid out of the passenger door onto the ground and stood up as best as I could. I didn't have any pain. I was just damn tired and weak. I felt more tired than I'd ever been in my entire life. The ground looked comfortable. I thought about taking a rest in the dirt for a few seconds. John swung his arm over my shoulder and dragged me to a sewer tunnel. It was a large round concrete hole protruding from a hillside and sinking into the earth like the pits of hell. I wondered if I had died and this was my journey to the underworld with the angel of death. Who the heck knew this existed just outside of Las Vegas? John carried me down into the darkness of the tunnels. With each step, we lost more light, and finally it was pitch black. It was darker than anything I'd ever experienced before. John said, "I know the way by heart. I have counted the steps many times. We try to be respectful of each other's darkness and space, so I don't use my light. Some guys get angry when people go walking through the tunnels with flashlights. Usually only cops and outsiders do that shit." We walked in the darkness for a few minutes and then turned right at an intersection. As soon as we turned, John flipped his flashlight on to reveal what looked like a nice apartment. He said, "I'm home." I could hear a cat meow in the darkness and then get closer to us. John said, "Yes, baby, I will feed you. I brought a visitor for us. He's going to stay for a little bit until he feels better. Simon, this is Mr. Fritz." I knelt down to pet the kitty and it jumped into my arms. It was an orange cat, and not a small one at all. That fucking thing had muscles like a tiger and claws like one also. It began to purr as soon as it hit my arms. Mr. Fritz was a cutie pie and made me feel a lot better. I sat down on a milk crate against the wall as the cat jumped down on the floor and began to meow loudly for its dinner. John lit some candles, and his underground home came fully alive. He had an entire bedroom in the back with a living room area in front of it and a small kitchen near the entrance. He held a red and purple tie-dyed blanket draped over the ceiling. He had a red and purple tie-dye blanket draped over the ceiling and wooden pallets with a nice carpet on top to prop up his bed on top. John said, "In the rainy season, this whole thing gets flooded with a foot of water. That's why I have the bed way up there. I've thought about doing an entire floor with these pallets, like old Wild Bill has down on the end. His place is great, and the floods don't affect him at all." John took out a bottle of water from his bag and said, "This is spring water, as fresh as it gets. Here, take some. Now take off your pants. Let's get this wound stitched up before you bleed to death." I took a long swig of the water and then stood up. to a dizzy spell. I held onto the wall as I regained my strength. I took down my pants and John dumped out his bag of goodies that he purchased from the drugstore. He had a sewing kit, rubbing alcohol, gauze, bandages, super glue, and peroxide. He threaded the needle from the kit and then went to the kitchen area. He lit up his propane stove, placing a butter knife on the flame, and walked back over to me, making sure my wound was clean. John began setting everything he would need for surgery neatly in a row like a doctor. He took the rubbing alcohol and poured it on my thigh, and then tapped it dry with his napkin. He went back over to the kitchen, grabbing the red-hot knife with a rag, and ran over to me. He hit my leg on both sides with the hot knife, touching it several times to cauterize the wound. I didn't feel a damn thing. Standing there in his hobbit hole with my pants down and hoping he could save my life before I passed out. He doused my wound again with some peroxide and then began to pour super glue into both holes of my leg. He closed them shut. John talked as he worked and said, "Super glue has saved many men on the battlefield before. This shit will close up these holes. Almost done, big fella. You're doing great. Try to go limp in your leg. You have a lot of muscle. This makes it much harder. You'll feel a slight bit of pain as I sew in the stitches on your leg on both sides. But you're a tough son of a bitch, I'll give you that." I let my leg go limp as John tugged and poked at my wound with his needle and thread. I hated how it felt. After a few minutes, he cut the loose ends of string and began to wrap up my leg with a bandage. When he finished, I pulled my pants over the bandage, sat back down on the milk crate, and felt relieved to be fixed by a real army medic. Mr. Fritz came over and rubbed his head on my leg, forcing me to pet him. He purred loudly, making a noise that sounded almost like a growl, smashing his head against me as hard as he could for affection. I said, "John, thanks, man, for saving my life. I owe you for this. I'll take you up on an offer and stay here for a night or two, if you don't mind." John was over in his kitchen area opening up a can of cat food, which sent the giant kitty leaping across the room. He pulled out a bottle of Big O's tequila from the cabinet above the counter, smiling as he dusted it off. He came over with 2 shot glasses and said, "I got this stuff when I left the Army and never had a good reason to pop it open. Saving a man's life that I never met before seems like as good of a damn reason as any. Wouldn't you say? Don't drink too much or you'll begin to bleed again. Just a shot will do." I laughed and replied, "1 shot is all I'll do anyways. I don't really like that stuff." We talked for an hour or two, becoming good friends over the course of the evening down in the tunnels. We discussed his life, mainly keeping mine off the table for the most part. He told me about how he ended up on the streets. John was a smart guy and seemed genuinely embarrassed about his living situation, which made me respect him a little bit more. I don't care if a man is having problems in life. Hell, we all have problems, but a dude who can't see reality will never change. John seemed to know what his problems were and what needed to be done, but somehow he was stuck in the tunnels, like a troll, by his own choice. He made a great dinner of grilled hot dogs and macaroni and cheese and barbecue potato chips. His little gas stove made those dogs taste better than Pink's up in Hollywood. I felt totally safe down in the tunnels with my new buddy and Mr. Fritz, the cat who wouldn't leave me alone. After we ate, John grabbed my paper plate along with his, tossing them into a trash can and making sure to close the lid tight so not to attract any bugs or rats. He looked at me with a serious gaze from across the candle-lit room and asked, "So, how did you get shot anyways?" All right, let's end it there. We'll pick it up next Monday.